number 5, and round number 5 is worth 2 points. And here we go. Debate question number 5. Now, it should be worth noting that neither one of our debaters have been told this question in advance. They're going into this cold. What film from the 90s holds up best in 2020? What film from the 90s holds up best in 2020? I will let you both pontificate this for just a moment. And while you are pontificating which film from the 90s holds up best in 2020, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already done it, head on over to youtube.com, type in GottaLoveThemMovies. You'll see a little red square in the upper right-hand corner that says subscribe. Go ahead and click that square or click that button. What doing that does is it helps build our subscriber base. And yes, I understand you are watching this show right now on Facebook Live, but you may not you might be watching this on YouTube, and by building our subscribers, you help us earn more opportunity to build that subscriber base, and building the subscriber base means more ad revenue, and ad revenue means I get to make this show my full-time job. So if you haven't already done that, I highly recommend that you head on over to youtube.com and subscribe to the channel. So let's head back over to our contestants. Sure. How about that? Contestants. Kay, which film have you chosen from the 90s that holds up the best in 2020?
Oh, the iconic film Space Jam.
Ooh, Space Jam. And Frank, for yourself, what film from the 90s holds up best in 2020?
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey versus Space Jam. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a fight. Let's see. Frank, Kay, you were the first person to start arguing or debating in the last round. So, Frank, you are going to kick this one off. Go.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. The soundtrack alone introduced a generation to hair metal they would not have been exposed to prior to that, and infusing it with the music of the day. Shredding guitars became a thing again. It changed pop culture in that way, but it also offered a solid marriage of science fiction and theology that was unseen in movies prior to that. Very rarely. You have one or the other. So outside of what we've already established as the glory that is Keanu Reeves, that has been given to us from the heavens, being solidified in this, where his comedic chops were tested, playing not one, but 2, perhaps 3 versions of himself, if you count the good robot us's. And I think he grunted for one of them. And God gave rock and roll. He gave it to everyone.
Okay, opening arguments for Space Jam.
So I see your Keanu Reeves, and I raise you the powerhouse that is the combination of Michael Jordan and Bill Murray. Let's talk about iconic soundtracks. I Believe I Can Fly. Hello, that song was the song of the 90s, and people still play it at weddings today. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. The song has the most sticking power out of anything on Bill and Ted's soundtrack, for real.
Staying power. Frank, we've zoomed in on your upper right-hand corner there. So staying power in terms of music and, the iconography of Space Jam itself. Frank, how do you argue against that?
I mean, I just disagree. I didn't like that song as much. However, the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey soundtrack made me bond with Mike Wissell in first week of high school, and through him, I met Mike Burke and Dan Reiser and Corbacus, and none of you guys know all these people. Matt Spano, and those are my best friends today. I still play with them, play Dungeons and Dragons with them via Zoom every Saturday night, and since 1991, which is the year that Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey came out. So personal lasting power, I Believe I Can Fly. I don't think has ever played off of any speaker that I've owned. However, the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey soundtrack, if we're just talking about music, I entertain that entire collection. And it is glorious, not to mention the Evan Dorkin comic that it gave us after that from, I believe, Oni Press. Brilliant, brilliant series, whip smart, and I'm sorry, William Sadler as Death trumps even Bugs Bunny.
Wow, death trumping Bugs Bunny. Kay, if you can put together a final argument for me, we're running up on the pretty close to the hour now. If you can put together your best closing argument, what is it about Space Jam that is a superior film, and what makes it more relevant in 2020 today?
Granted that we see in films and in television all the time now is the association of an animated character and a live action character. Even in the 90s, this was still a hard thing to accomplish. It had been done previously, but it hadn't been done quite this seamlessly. And now we still see it in modern TV, modern films, and getting to see it so seamlessly in 1996 when computer generation was in its infancy, it led, as mentioned earlier with another film, it holds up. Not only that, there is a new Space Jam in the works. It was supposed to come out this year, but because of COVID, it's been postponed. But I think it has that iconic staying power of the fact that it's still going to happen, and it's going to happen with a modern cast, and hopefully, bring Looney Tunes to a new generation. So I think the sticking power is within the animation, the cast, the soundtrack. It's just the perfect 90s film.
Frank, final arguments. Space Jam has the perfect soundtrack, cast, staying power, animation, infancy, influencing the industry. In the next 30 seconds, how do you wrap that up?
Combat the animation with the animatronics and voice prowess of Frank Welker, with both stationed in both his individual forms and combined form. The soundtrack is phenomenally more lasting. I mean, don't really think many people listen to the soundtrack of Space Jam outside of an ironic sense, but Bill and Ted had real music. And so far as sequels, Bill and Ted, we've already established, Face the Music was a passion project. They didn't make a ton of money like Warner Brothers is going to make on that Space Jam movie. They did it out of love of the franchise, because not only they love it, but the fans love it.
Wow, you guys, I didn't think it was going to be this tough in this particular round. When, Frank, when you first started, you were talking about Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and the first thing that popped out to my mind is they dropped some slurs against the gay community as just, here you go, ta-da. And that was one of the first things that popped out of my mind. Nobody brought that up in the arguments, but I'm going to bring it up here. So I can't go off of what my personal thoughts and feelings about the film are. I have to go off of the arguments. And Kay, honestly, I feel like you had the superior argument here. That, I mean, yeah, Frank, you mentioned your personal relationship with some of the cast and crew from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. I don't feel that was necessarily relevant as to, it took me a minute. I don't think that was necessarily relevant as to why that makes it a better film in a 2020 context. But with the animation, Kay, you had me with the animation, you had me with the cast, the Bill Murray, and the soundtrack. I feel that it does have a good enough soundtrack. Like, Frank, you said that nobody listens to the soundtrack outside of an ironic sense, and I actually kind of do, non-ironically. Actually,
it's fun.
it's a fun movie. Anyway, that's for that reason I'm gonna give Kay the 2 points for this particular round. So yay! So here's what this means. Normally, you guys, we would go into a tiebreaker round. The tiebreaker round I already have prepared and everything, but we are currently 2 minutes over our allotted time slot. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna end the show next week, next Friday, providing...
Show, never again.
Oh, sorry, Kay, say that again?
I broke it. Thank you. I'm sorry.
I said, this is the end of the show. It's peaked. That's it. We're done.
End of the show. It's peaked. We're done. So here's what we're going to do, guys. Next week, if both Kay and Frank are available, and I will let everybody know out on the social medias, if they are both available, I'm inviting both of you back for a second head-to-head debate. You are both tied at 3 points each. So next show will be, same format. It's a wash at this point. It's a draw. You have both tied. But yeah, I invite both of you back onto the show next week for another head-to-head debate, Kay versus Frank, and we'll just kind of see where it goes. Kay, hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. because that is exactly what this dinosaur would want you to do. Roar, roar, roar!